How is it for your body at 4 years old to hear that you couldn't claim who you were in so many levels, so many layers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a queer trans person, I was told from like as a kid, no, you need to wear dresses. No, your brother goes to karate. You do the dishes. You help your mom go grocery shopping. I haven't eliminated my money trauma. I don't like saying that my wounds are gone. They're always there, pero pican un poquito menos. Like they're there and I observe them, but I don't let them consume my decisions. Now that I've been a money coach for 6 years and I work constantly with people of all income levels and I've never made more than 45K and I've already hit 260K net worth because of how I understand money and how to optimize it. But just reminding myself that we don't have to suffer anymore. And once you get a hold of your finances, for me, is you're grieving and realizing how much unnecessary stress there was, how many relationships ended because of money, because people didn't know how to talk about it or afraid to talk about it. Just so much unnecessary stress because people aren't equipped to have productive, intentional, neutral money conversations because they've always been loaded and stressful. And people only talk about money when shit hits the fan or when you need to like buy a fancy concert ticket to see Beyonce or whatever. But it's never like a daily, intentional, productive thing.
Hola, hola. Welcome back to Café con Pam, the bilingual podcast that celebrates the power of our stories, the medicine in our voices, and the magic of reclaiming who we are. Pull up your cafecito, que este episodio es para ti. Yo soy Pam Covarrubias, your host, y el día de hoy we talk about what it actually cost to grow up being told through documents, through silence, through a father who asked his 6-year-old to lend back the $20 he just gave them, that your place here was never guaranteed. My guest today is Charly Stoever. They are a trans Latinx money coach, speaker, host of the Unicorn Millionaire podcast, formerly undocumented Mexican American, ex stockbroker, and someone who's traveled solo to 39 countries, often alone, often on purpose, often running towards something they couldn't name yet. But what I really want you to hear today is how Charly has built a net worth of over $260,000 without ever making more than $50,000 in a single year. And they will tell you that the hardest part was never the investing. It was learning to buy the guacamole. It was learning that suffering is not the same as discipline. It was learning and still learning that you don't have to keep proving you deserve to be here. This is for the person who has their financial shit together, maybe more together than anyone around you, and you still talk yourself out of buying store-bought guacamole. Sin más, here's my conversation with Charly. Charly, welcome to Café con Pam.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super pumped to get into it.
Let's get right into it. So the first question we always ask is, what is your heritage?
My heritage is Mexican. I was born in Mexico. Ethnically, a lot of my relatives are white, but citizenship-wise, Mexico, Mexico, Mexico. Yeah, it's like white people finding each other in Mexico and having white babies. My grandfather is German, and he immigrated to Mexico and then married my grandma, who is ethnically in my family the only one who's like Mexican. And so my mom's half German, half Mexican. And my dad is like of Dutch ancestry. Those Dutch people wanted to come to Mexico. And then his dad fought in World War II, was a Texan American that moved to Mexico after World War II. So people can't get enough of Mexico. And I'm the byproduct of that.
They've done their research.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever gone that deep, but thank you for all the back story.
Yeah.
Which I think, did you actually go deep? Like, did you do the research because you were curious, or is this like a conversation that happens in your family?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I grew up undocumented. So we moved to the States when I was like 4. And I grew up being told, tell people you were born in LA. Don't tell people you were born in Mexico or we'll get deported. But we were white and my last name was Johnson. And we were in the middle of nowhere in Washington State with all the other white people. But there was still this like sense of shame of like, don't get to know your heritage behind closed doors. You'll know about it, but don't show it off until I got my green card at 14 and became a U.S. citizen senior year of college in 21. at 21 years old. So I wasn't able to go back to Mexico until I was like 15 years old by myself and basically like met my family. But every time I would go, I'd be like, okay, who the fuck am I? Abuelita, let's look at our photo albums, explain this shit from like the 40s and 50s, like that our abuelo had a leather tanning factory in León, Guanajuato, all this history. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. I was so curious because my grandma passed in 2020.
Wow.
And so I'm really happy that I dove into those memories while I could.
That's awesome that you did, because a lot of people don't get to do that.
Mm-hmm.
How is it for your body at 4 years old to hear that you couldn't claim who you were? In so many levels, so many layers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a queer trans person, I was told from like as a kid, no, you need to wear dresses. No, your brother goes to karate. You do the dishes. You help your mom go grocery shopping.
Did you try as a kid?
I tried to say, no, I don't want to wear dresses. I want to just dress how my brother dresses. But when you're grown up Mexican, you don't have a choice to try. Let's be real. So I was always just the good kid in high school, did sports, got the A+ grades and all that. And then it wasn't until college that I went to a women's college, luckily. So I got to decenter men very early on and saw the lesbians being out and proud. I was like, oh, it's okay to be yourself and be out and like hold your partner's hand and just be who you are. So I quickly came out when I was like 18 in college and realized I was trans like later on in my 30s. So it's been a constant process of self-discovery, of being who I am, no matter what the administration tells you, what your family tells you, what the haters tell you, and just constantly diving inward and researching myself and becoming more and more myself, because it's an endless journey.
An endless journey, indeed. Where do you get the strength to continue to be yourself?
I don't feel like there's an option. People are always like, you're so strong. And I'm like, yeah, because I don't have a choice. Yeah, growing up, we never had the choice. Like I grew up with a very interesting money story where my mom's family was poorer than my dad's family, but then we immigrated, but my dad refused to work because he was used to getting spoon fed. So I grew up eating like arroz con frijoles, avena every morning, like growing up poor, but then our grandpa would randomly send us money. So by the time I was 14, I got to go to Hawaii like twice and got to go to Las Vegas twice and got to go on all these cool road trips. But there's also always the sense of struggle. Todo está muy caro, like no hay suficiente, but also random abundance here and there. So I'm used to fighting, but I'm in the stage of my life where I'm trying to end as much suffering as possible and realizing how much subconscious suffering is still there. Just because you're used to it doesn't mean that it should continue. So it's been ingrained.
Oh, I know. I feel you. So at 14 years old, you get your green card. How is that identity shift from having had to hide yourself through all the layers of you to now like there's one layer less? How did you navigate that?
I was just excited to be able to work. I wasn't trying to be like my dad, just like chilling at home, waiting for money from his dad. I was like, I'm excited to have a social security number and to make my own money and become financially independent before I could even realize what financial abuse was and manipulation was. Like my dad tried to control my mom when we first got there. He was like, I'm not even going to take you to the DMV because if they find out we're undocumented, if you're trying to get your license, we're going to get deported. Everything was, don't do this or you'll get deported. And so once I got my green card, I was like, well, now I can't get deported. So watch me get my first job at McDonald's and start making my own freaking money. Because I've always been a saver, but it was really important for me to step into the identity of somebody who takes care of myself instead of depending on somebody to take care of me, because you never know, people can change. And I never want to be in a vulnerable state that I saw my mom or other family members, women in my family, constantly being in vulnerable states. And I was like, that's not going to be me.
What's your first memory of money?
Growing up, my dad would like give us a random 5, 10, 20 bucks. And then I remember when I was like 6 years old or something, he knew that I was always the saver, whereas my brother would always just spend it immediately on like video games or computer stuff. He was like the techie nerd and I was more of like the artist who was saving money. But I remember him asking me, remember those 20 bucks that I gave you? Can you lend them back to me? And I was like, this is freaking weird. Aren't adults supposed to be the providers of money? Aren't adults supposed to have their shit together? Why are you asking me, your child, to lend you back money that you gave me? But you don't know any better. When you're a kid, you're just trying to preserve yourself and preserve the family and do what's best. And so I just remember that being a really weird memory of money being a source of stress and inconsistency, even though we were never
Mm.
starving or anything. It was just unnecessary stress as a kid to me. So that was my first memory.
How did that mark you?
I mean, now when I say it was unnecessary stress, and now that I've been a money coach for 6 years and I work constantly with people of all income levels, and I've never made more than 45K, and I've already hit 260K net worth because of how I understand money and how to optimize it. I just realized how much stress is unnecessary and the grief that's involved with, okay, now I can buy the guacamole at the grocery store. I don't have to always make it myself. And it still hits me. Every time I go, I'm like, oh, I want the guac. And I have to remind myself, you can afford it. It's okay. Like, you can get it every time.
Mm.
But just reminding myself that we don't have to suffer anymore. And once you get a hold of your finances, for me, is you're grieving and realizing how much unnecessary stress there was, how many relationships ended because of money, because people didn't know how to talk about it or afraid to talk about it. Just so much unnecessary stress because people aren't equipped to have productive, intentional, neutral money conversations because they've always been loaded and stressful. And people only talk about money when shit hits the fan or when you need to like buy a fancy concert ticket to see Beyonce or whatever. And it's never like a daily, intentional, productive thing.
Did people have conversations about money besides your dad asking you for the money that he gave you?
It was siempre, todo está muy caro. Todo está caro. Every time we go to the grocery store, we go to grocery outlet. We go to grocery outlet because Safeway was the bougie one in my little town of Moses Lake, Washington. And I just remember hearing the stress of everything's getting more and more expensive. And this was the 90s. I wish I could time travel back to the 90s, to the 1990s prices of like
Oh my gosh, tell me
anything.
about it.
But yeah, it was always like scarcity. There's never enough, but we're making it work. And so that was my earlier marker of association, emotional association, and the heaviness of money from an early age. So you got to save. You got to save.
Or have you seen in your practice, in your coaching with your clients, that either people are super savers or super spenders because they don't know when the money's going to come back?
I feel like I attract similar people to me. I attract a lot of neurospicy queer clients who are good at saving, but they're hoarding money because they don't know how to invest it, or they're investing in the wrong things. I rarely have people with a huge spending problem because I don't really talk about spending problems. If anything, I have to talk about how I need to remind myself that it's okay to spend money on my present joy instead of fixating on retirement later.
Fascinating. Because I'm thinking about Coachella. Over 60% of Coachella attendees use buy now, pay later services. Over 60%. And so,
Yep.
and this is for Coachella, like the stat just came out, unrelated to anything of our conversation, but I think it informs in a way how now with this buy now, pay later model, it's kind of like in a way replacing credit cards. But it's interesting that you say that the people that you attract that you talk to the most are more of the, I have a huge savings account. I never had a conversation about savings, for example. And I remember when my best friend, who's a white girl from the Midwest, she was like, of course you can, pull it from your savings or add it to your savings account or something like that. And I was like, what? What does that mean? And so I love your like kind of opposite perspective, which is like very interesting.
Yeah, I attract a lot of type A, like eldest daughters, even though I'm not an eldest daughter, even though I feel like it. I have an older brother, but I always felt like I was the only child because we are not close. But I attract a lot of like the eldest daughters who are parentified and were like the third parent who had to take care of like their siblings and have their shit together, even though they don't understand investing or what's going on. So I help them understand and get their shit together while also working on boundaries. Like, you should not be the family bank and enable them to just keep coming to you last minute for every urgent need, whereas you can be helping them build their own credit and looking at how to take out low interest loans instead of seeing you as the emergency fund and using your money to fund your peace instead of being in that constant loop of having your shit together or what will your family think, because you've always performed miracles.
Right. Well, I'm an eldest daughter, and that's why I didn't have savings, precisely because all my money was everywhere.
Yeah.
Going to all the places. And so it's like so interesting how the money story builds who we are and how we operate with, like as a child, like all of that informs how we show up as adults. So you mentioned earlier that you went to an all-women college, which is, did you choose that? Was that a choice?
It was the cheapest option. Like, the college chose me. I was, like, in rural, middle nowhere, Washington State, and it was time to apply to college, so of course I applied to University of Washington, Washington State, all those state colleges, and then since my brother decided to go to the East Coast, I was, like, in a rivalrous way, I was like, "I'm gonna go to the East Coast too," since he did it, and then I ended up applying, and got a massive financial aid package, so it was cheaper for me to study out of state, all the way in Boston, than it was to stay in state. So I didn't have student loan debt. I worked while I was in college. Luckily, my parents were able to help me. My grandpa was able to help me too, despite the massive financial aid package. But I didn't have a choice. It was like, I'm going here because it's cheaper. And then Wellesley College ended up being the best by far, hands down. It totally kicked my ass because it was like Ivy League status almost. We were doing exchange with Harvard and MIT, and I didn't understand like academic language and all that. So I had to get my shit together. And I was like, I'm not going to flunk. I'm going to hire a writing tutor and learn how to write academic and code switch for these people. And that's exactly how it worked out.
Did you have mentors or people that believed in you?
I seek them out. Yeah, I had to find all the tutors, the professors, not so much. Como que no me caían bien los profesores mucho. I studied French, and I feel like that helped me a lot because my Spanish really helped me learn French and get that
Yeah.
easier A and feel like, okay, I got this. I'm not floundering in this subject, and I'm good at something. And I was part of it's called Mezcla Latinx Students Organization. So the older Latina students were definitely our mentors. They talked about therapy for the first time. They're like, you should go to therapy. It's free. And I was like, okay, if it's free, I'll go. I love that I had that mentality of being like, well, it's here, it's free. Why not take advantage of that and all the resources that were in college? Because again, I didn't have an option not to. So yeah,
And models even.
yeah.
Like, I think about my college experience and how I didn't have parents to call and be like, what's the next step? And so you rely on the people around you, which make a huge difference.
Yeah, I didn't have like my mom check me into the dorm or whatever. I flew out there by myself and went to college by myself. And she visited like a month later. And when I graduated, that's it. It's not like the middle class white parents that fly in just for spring break just to say hi whenever.
Yeah.
You know
Or
the
they show up
vibes.
with a U-Haul to move you in.
Yeah, that must be nice.
I would see that and it was quite foreign to me to have. I moved to
Yeah.
the US at 19 years old by myself. And
Mm.
so I went to college and I would see people like the next summer, I guess, people would show up with their parents and like balloons and I'm like, what is this? Like
Right?
okay. So I guess your parents bring you cake because you're going to college. That's cool.
Yeah, that must be nice.
Must be nice. But we figure it out, right?
Yeah.
So one thing that I have heard you say is that you were scared of money for a long time. But what's interesting is that you went on to choose a career around money and then you left it and now you're a
Mhm.
money coach. So what was that bridge? And was it you facing the fear of this like thing that's been scarce and kind of like in a way really dichotomous because sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not, and then there's scarcity and all blah blah blah.
Mhm.
So what led you to that point decision?
I don't think I was scared of money. I think I was just scared of turning into my parents because of how scared they were about money. It's always the emotion and not the thing. I was scared of getting into fights with people I loved. I remember my parents, like, they took out a credit card, not understanding how it works in the 90s when you get the bill in the mail, and they didn't understand how
Yeah.
high interest rates are. And they had a fight over credit card interest. And I was like, wow, credit cards are not safe. This is not safe. If my parents don't know what's going on, then I don't want anything to do with it. But then I realized that early on that I love to travel. And I really think it's because I was trapped in the US and couldn't leave. And then once I became a citizen, I was like, I'm going to fucking see the world because life is short. And I understand what it's like to not be able to leave. And traveling costs money. And so I used my saving and budgeting skills throughout my 20s, despite not making much money at all. I did the Peace Corps in Nicaragua for 2 years and made $300 a month and had to dip into my savings for that. And I did AmeriCorps. I was on food stamps and Medicaid, which are amazing programs, but I just was raised to not learn about asking for a raise or how to optimize your money. It was always how to like get it and then save it, because then everyone will die if you don't. Like catastrophe if you don't save your money. But there's more than that. I remember checking my bank account back when I banked with crappy Bank of America because I didn't know better. And I always have my clients break up with them and do high yield savings, but I didn't know. And I remember just looking at my bank account and seeing pennies and interest and being like, there must be more to this. And there definitely is. I should have been investing that whole time. And I remember my stepdad opening up a retirement investment account for me when I was a teenager. But then the 2008 stock market crash happened. I probably had like a couple hundred in there. And I freaked out as everybody was freaking out. And I wish he had just told me, no, we're going to put more money in this and then it's going to pop off, because that's how it works. But I remember selling out of it. And I was like, no, I don't trust this. I'd rather just have stable savings. Yeah. And then I realized, shit, I should have just had him keep the money. If only he knew to explain it to me, but he didn't bother. Because again, it's hard for people to have proactive, calm conversations about money that end up sabotaging you in the future. So then in my 20s, I stayed with that thought of there must be something more. There must be a way for my interest payments to be higher. And then my mid 20s, I pet sat for a friend who was a financial advisor. And I was like, I keep hearing my white friends talk about Roth IRAs this, Roth IRAs that. Should I open one? And she's like, yeah. So she sat me down and completely changed the trajectory of my life in just an hour, where she helped me roll over an old annuity from when I was a teacher making $30K into a Roth IRA investment account, and just helped set up my investments in a automated robo-advisor, which still wasn't good, but it was still fascinating for me to log in every day and kind of see the fluctuations and the money go up and down by hundreds of dollars in a day, and just knowing, oh, I just stay the course. Like that was a lot more exciting to me than being annoyed at my bank account and seeing the pennies and interest that these crappy big banks pay out because they're exploiting you and want to pay their shareholders instead. But I can go off for hours.
I know.
About that.
How did you deal with your nervous system and seeing the fluctuations, and like, because I mean the market sometimes has bad days, knowing that there's always going to come back, but how, like in those low moments, how did you hold yourself?
I remember my financial advisor friend telling me that the stock market, yes, it fluctuates. Because of course I asked her, isn't it a casino? Isn't it risky to invest? And she just showed me a chart of the stock market of how it goes up and down and up and down, but up over the long term. And she said, you can be poor right now as long as you get in there now, because you're so young and you have so much time on your side. I was like, oh, okay. I've never made more than like 30K at this point, but now I don't feel shame just getting started, taking advantage of knowing what to do with the little money I have consistently, and knowing that I have decades for this money to grow itself while I'm off living my best life. And I remember, starting investing when I was like 26 or 27, and then going to Latin America to backpack for 6 months because I upped my credit card points game. And so I think being in a low cost of living area in Colombia, where I'm spending like $400 a month, ordering DoorDash for like 50 cents, and seeing the fluctuations, I was like, we're good right now. It's not as stressful. It's more stressful when you're in America, because America is obscenely expensive for what you get. As somebody who's been to 39 countries, this is the most expensive country for what you get. No socialized healthcare, but I'm literally here for community. That's it. There's nothing else keeping me here. It's for my friends.
Makes sense.
So that's kind of like how I've observed my mind, but still keeping focus on the long term instead of being in the emergency mode of, oh my God, I'm going to lose it all now. And if bad things happen, I've slept on my friends' couches before. They've slept on mine. That's what community is for. And I think people lose sight of that you can lean on each other in case of emergencies. It's not always going to be all on you, but you still have that balance of taking care of your future self.
Yeah, because we are socialized to be, like, individualism is so strong in the way that we exist, which culturally, I think we're, like, I have so many stories, but won't let my ADHD take over. But we are
like, let it.
I have so many squirrels, you have no idea. But I think, like, culturally, we're communal beings, and we like naturally gravitate to other people. And so I'm curious, how did you remove, because I'm trauma informed, I do somatic work, and so I know a lot of times those stories are in the body. Like thoughts are feel like they become feelings we feel in the body.
Mhm.
And so how did Charly remove the story that you grew up with of perhaps, and I'm like, edit what it's not true, but based on what you've told me, that you work for money, perhaps, or maybe seeing that, like maybe you get money from time to time. You don't have to necessarily like trade hours for dollars. But was there
Mhm.
a story in there? Because I see a lot of our people, for example, they do have that story very strongly of like, I work an hour, I get paid for the hour.
Mm.
And so transitioning to looking at the market and how you could double, triple your money by investing it. How is that transition for you?
I mean, I saw the transition when I worked as a stockbroker, just seeing the time value of money. It's not, I stopped seeing money as, oh, you go to work for an hour and make 20 bucks an hour. As soon as I saw how these rich people, they weren't doing anything fancy. They just let their money compound itself. And when you're at the millionaire level, your money can go up and down by $50,000 in a day. It's wild. And
Mhm.
so, like, I'm at the 260K level and my money can go up and down by 5K in a day. When you have a zero, you add another zero.
Right.
So I got really exposed to like you can make money a lot faster than having to go to work 8 hours a day. And I remember still having this disconnect when I worked as a stockbroker. It wasn't fancy. We were working in a call center. Most of my calls were password resets for 80-year-olds that didn't know how to use their phones. Um, but then when during time off, I remember my mostly male colleagues nerding out about which stocks they were picking and day trading and all this fancy stuff. And I was like, why do you waste time doing this? Why don't you just get another job? And they were like,
Mm.
the point of this is so we don't have to get another job because it's easier for us to click buttons while we're at work and make money at the same time we're at this 9 to 5. So that's when it clicked for me. And so I really think that perception of money helped me quit my job when I had like 80K net worth. When COVID hit, like a boss, I quit my job and just left everything and moved to Playa del Carmen to get my free full ride MBA and started paying for business coach because my MBA wasn't shit. If you want to start a business, do not get an MBA. It will not help you. I
I know.
hired my Latina coach, Kat Del Carmen, sold 3K of Tesla stock, and boom, hired her and made 7,500 in a
We
month.
love Kat. She's been on the show.
Yeah, she's amazing. And
Yes.
so I think I saw that and I implemented what crunching time and the time value of money would look like for me in terms of confident decision making while also doing in the work, but doing it in an aligned way. It's a miracle that I can just show up and people I've never met in person can pay me thousands of dollars and I help them grow their money and collapse their timelines to retirement. Now that I've let go of this, like, well, I have to work myself to the bone and then get
Mhm.
paid. But I'll be real, like Q1 of this year, I made 400 freaking dollars, but I was still working my ass off. I was sending 3, 5 emails a week or a day sometimes, but I just held on to the vision. And then Q2, I got it together and I made $21,000, but I didn't let that sabotage my retirement investing because I maxed out my Roth IRA January 2nd, as soon as January hits. So I have a much more fluid understanding of money with the long-term vision, but it's okay to have inconsistency. I think a lot of entrepreneurs are pressured to make 10K every month or they fail. And it's like, no, I'm inconsistent AF, but my net worth is still growing despite the inconsistency. And I'm taking more time off ever and still pet sitting on the coast because I feel like it, just having that flexibility.
Totally. And you have fun while you're doing it, which I think that's what
Yeah,
matters.
I love what I do.
Absolutely. So one thing you also answered, speaking of work, is that you love what you do. And so how do you stop yourself from overworking and burning out?
Yeah, burnout is real, even though you can love what you do and still burn yourself out. Like I'm in year 6 of this, and this is the first year that thanks to my business coach Kirsten Rodan, she takes 3 weeks off every quarter. And I remember when she was like, "Y'all need to take 3 weeks off a quarter," I almost died. I was like, "What are you talking about? That's for like millionaire CEOs, not me."
But you create a lot of spaciousness when you do.
yeah, I realized, no, I have my shit together. I take care of myself financially. If anything, I'm the person that is primed to do this, but the scarcity is still
Mm,
there. And I haven't eliminated my money trauma. I don't like saying that my wounds are gone. They're always there, pero pican un poquito menos. Like they're there and I observe them, but I don't let them consume my decisions. But I still do journaling. So yeah, I started taking 3 weeks off. I just came back from 3 weeks off where I went to San Jose and shook my ass at a queer Afro Latin dance festival and spent time with my friend in Sacramento, whose brother got kidnapped by ICE and has been in custody since November, and just being emotional support for her there. And then taking a road trip back from there to Portland because I felt like it. There's a lot of like, because I feel like it now and spaciousness.
mhm.
And it's okay to take time off so that I can come back rested and grounded. And I think my biggest fear was that my clients would be pissed off at me for taking time off, but they love it. They're like, get it, you deserve it. We're having a little break and get our money together. You go off and do your own thing, Virgo.
Yeah.
So highly recommend taking time off so that you can come back and continue romanticizing your business, which I loved your podcast episode on romanticizing. That's how I found you. That's the era I'm in.
Yeah, romanticize your life. You're the main character of that story. Why not have fun with it? You know?
Yes.
Agreed 100%. I get dressed as the main character sometimes. Not every day, but like this is my Taller Puro Corazón
Oh.
shirt. So it's like, so these are corazones, like the actual anatomical form of a heart, and they are hand sewn by women in Guanajuato, I think, or Michoacan.
Okay.
I don't know, un estado de Mexico. And like I anytime I and if like there's a lot in it, and so anytime I have pieces of clothing that I value because of how they were made, I now I'm wearing them because I can, not because there's a special occasion for them. Which I think it's like in a way we can connect that to money and to the savings. Sometimes like save it for a rainy day. Well, why don't you just go take yourself out to eat today?
Yeah.
Because you can. Of course we can't. We don't want to be reckless, but we want to be responsible. And also to your word of joy, give ourselves joy daily. Why wait? No?
Yeah. Yeah. Joy can be free. It can be as simple as shaking your ass in the kitchen, but also joy can cost money. Like traveling is joyful to me. And I always have more goals. Like I still have never flown first class, but that's my goal is to be able to fly first class one day and then just make it like a regular thing and then treat other people to flights. So that's the joy of being on top of your money is allowing yourself to dream even bigger instead of just being like, oh, I just want to be good. I just want to be fine. I don't want to be fine. Like I love taking time off. I love travel and vacation. I love going to the airport lounges for free. And that's just like, I'm just getting started. I want more bouginess. I want to thrive. I want more luxury. And that requires money.
Totally. I work with first gen CEOs and founders and executives. And one of my clients recently took herself to Europe and she rented a boat all by herself, like for her.
Yes.
And she sent me a picture and she was like, I've worked so hard for this. And I'm like, please enjoy every moment, like touch every little tiny bit of that boat, Just like bask all in it. But it's true. Like you choose how you give yourself joy.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. I would just be laying all over that boat, hiring a photographer. Look at me. I'm on this side of the boat. I'm on that side of the boat.
Every side, every corner. Yes. All the outfits, all the things.
Yes.
Okay, let's take a quick coffee break.
Sabrosura
So, Charlie, do you drink coffee?
Sometimes because of my inflammation, I used to go crazy with that, but with my inflammation and eczema, I hired a health coach and she's like, yeah, you are way too fiery and passionate of a person to drink coffee every day. So on days where I want to be productive, I drink coffee. I love nitro. That's my shit.
Oh, you go all out.
I go all or nothing. I'm a Virgo, Sun, Aries rising. So that's definitely the Aries part of me. That's like, fuck yeah, fuel the fire, let's go. And I'm a Gemini moon, which is like the chatty podcaster in me.
Yeah. Oh, fascinating. I married an Aries sun. I'm a Scorpio sun, Sag rising, which people often think that I'm a Sagittarius. And I'm like,
Really?
The Scorpio comes in and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
So nitro, do you find as you travel, do you find like because you don't drink it every day, is it like a thing, like I don't want to say a luxury thing, but like a I feel like coffee today. Let's go find a coffee shop type thing.
Yeah, or if I know I'm going to have a productive day or I'm going to do podcasts or need to get my shit together for business after 3 weeks off, then I just get a can of nitro from the grocery store.
Oh,
I'm not a
nice.
huge coffee shop person, but I also think that's my scarcity because before I'd be like, why the fuck would you pay $5 for coffee if you can buy a bag for
The
that? It does not make
experience,
sense.
Charlie.
Yeah, and now I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, it is nice to not have to make it myself. It is nice. Yeah.
Which I think of when you were ill and people sent you meal train money and you used the money to pay for rent instead of
Yeah.
buying
Tough
food.
surgery. Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was the scarcity.
fascinating. So people sent you money for food and you said, I'm recovering. I'm still going to cook myself food, but I'll use the money for rent.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, because I didn't feel like I deserved rest, or at any moment I was like, well, I got top surgery on Medicaid. I was blessed enough to pay for this surgery, so I don't want to fuck it up even more. I was like sabotaging myself by not wanting to sabotage myself. But there just comes a point where you have to, I think because I was in my 20s and I was used to suffering, and in your 20s you have energy to suffer, but now that I'm in my 30s, I'm like, no, I love door dashing the first of the month with my Chase Sapphire Reserve card because I get the bonus, and I was never a door dasher, but now I am because I'm not trying to cook all my meals. It's exhausting cooking everything for yourself and meal prepping and having that all together. So,
and paying for coffee.
Yes, paying for coffee is okay. And the store made guac. Yes.
Yes, and store made guac. Though I feel like it goes bad too fast, but yes, sometimes from time to time. Aguacate. On my end, I usually drink my mushroom coffee. This is not the time for coffee anymore because it's like past noon for me. So if I like after truly 11, 12, then I shouldn't because otherwise I don't sleep for 3 days. But I drink today. I had a 1.5 cup of pop and bottle.
What's that?
It's a bottle of concentrated coffee, and you can either make it cold, so you can just add ice to it, and you have to, porque es concentrado, you have to like add water, no? And you can make it cold, iced coffee, or you can make it warm by adding hot water. And so I'm a purist. I am like insufferable. Coffee is meant to be drank hot in my book. And so I had some pop and bottle, their Wicked collection, I guess. This is not an ad at all. They should sponsor me though.
They should.
And I know. And it was great. I added creatine and some like lion's mane for my brain. But truly what helps with my brain more, I think it's tea, which is what I'm drinking right now.
Matcha or?
No, it's like a whole concoction of herbs. My favorite is Tulsi and ginger tea.
Okay.
That's very like, it makes my brain like it does a better job than Adderall ever did.
Oh.
So I'll stick to my
That
herbs.
should be an ad. Get sponsored. Collaboration.
Yeah, I know. I should get sponsored. Which, I mean, yeah. So sometimes coffee. Do you have a daily ritual, whether it's a drink or just a morning thing?
Yeah, like today, I like having my black tea with rose in it because rose apparently, I'm very like Ayurvedic now and pay attention to doshas and heat and temperatures. And so black tea, it ignites the fire in you, but the rose is cooling.
Do you need more fire? So, okay.
I
rose
don't.
Is cooling.
So that's why I'm like, let me still have my black tea because I do want a little bit of caffeine, but the cooling rose, that's what I got to tell myself. Does it cool it?
Yes.
I don't know.
Do you notice the difference?
Still. No, but the flavor's good. I love Earl Grey, but I think with the rose, it's even bougier. I'm like, look at me drinking roses in my tea. I'm so fancy.
Do you add milk or no?
Oh, yeah. Is the oat milk or almond milk is better for me. Oat milk is more like inflammatory and starchy because I was pre-diabetic. And so I had to shift from doing oat milk to almond milk. But sometimes I do the oat milk. Yeah. And I like doing my morning pages and getting back into that. When I was on vacation, I didn't do it, but I like journaling for at least 3 full pages of just stream of consciousness to like get things out and not self-censor, because doing that helps me realize that, wow, I do self-censor even my own thoughts. And so it helps me get that out first thing in the morning. And kind of like intention set, and also romanticize. Today I was like, how can I romanticize my juicy 3-week trip I took myself on before jumping back into the grind?
Yes. I love that. Awesome. Okay, let's get back to the show before we run out of time.
Oh, I forgot we were not in it.
If you've started making your cafecitos at home to get on with that morning routine and build the habit of saving money, it could be a good strategy. Pero there might be an easier way to save. Did you know that if you open a new savings builder account at BMO, you can earn a $5 reward every month you grow your balance by $200 or more during the first year? Learn more about how BMO can help you grow your savings by visiting bmo.com/save. bmo.com/save. Conditions apply. Accounts provided in the United States by BMO Bank and a member FDIC. Do you ever feel like money's supposed to make you feel free, but instead it just makes you feel like a fraud? Like, you should already know this stuff. Investing, retirement, debt. But you're still Googling, what's a Roth IRA, like it's a secret society? Let me unmute that real quick. Savvy Ladies is a nonprofit that gets it, and they're not here to shame you. They're here to support you. They've got a completely free financial helpline where real humans, real experts give you answers without judgment. Whether you're navigating money wounds, dreaming of building wealth, or just trying to make sense of your paycheck, this is your safe space. No sales pitch, no confusing jargon, just real talk, real help, for free. Because financial confidence isn't just about numbers. It's about knowing you're not alone anymore. Head over to savvyladies.org to learn more. That is SAVVYLADIES.org. When was the last time someone said pajamas required and actually meant it? 10 years ago, I started Cafe con Pam using a microphone from a retired rapper, way too many feelings, and zero proof any of this could work. Well, here we are. It did work. So on October 10th in San Diego, we are throwing it a slumber party, a real one. And here's the part that I'm so excited about. I'm teaching the workshop I needed 10 years ago. The one that teaches your nervous system it's safe to build, to grow, to take up space without bracing for it all to be taken away. Then we record a live episode with an incredible guest. Your questions in the room out loud. In your pajamas, fed by an actual chef. Warm citrus marinated olives, gluten-free corn dogs, the whole artisanal spread. Oh, so excited. It's called Diezvelada, 10 years, 1 night. Grab your tickets, get on the list before it's gone, come as tired as you want because we're staying up anyway. I'm just kidding. It's just from 6 to 10 because I'm a señora. You know, we go to bed at 10. Head over to cafeconpam.com/10. cafeconpam.com/DIEZ. Yes. Do you have a plan on how many trips you're going to take?
Not really. I just go with it, and it's mostly I travel for events at this point in my life. I mean, I used to have an escapist approach to travel where if I'd get pissed off at America or have a bad breakup, then I'd be like, fuck y'all, I'm leaving, which is what I did last year. I was dating this woman. It was just a situationship. And then I broke it off. And then I was like, I'm going to go to Europe for 3 months.
Oh,
yeah, I have like a burn it all to the ground mentality where it's fight or flight, where I'm in control. So I just leave and I abandon and I'm like, fuck y'all, never going to see me again. So then I went to Europe for 3 months, but was in like 10 countries for a month. And it was just constant go, go, go. Because when you're in Europe, you're like, damn, there's so many countries, so much to see. I can't aprovechar because you never know if you're going to be here again, even though I know I will. It was like my 3rd time in Europe, but I hadn't been in almost 10 years. So it was more of that scarcity, like got to do this now, and not for the right reasons of just like relaxing and being in the pleasure and sitting in a place. It was constantly go, go, go. So, which was not good for my chronic health issues. I had recovered from a horrible health crisis. And I think doing that to myself reignited my health crisis. So then I was like, okay, let me go back to Portland and Pacific Northwest where I pet sit full time and then focus on community and establishing some roots. So I've been there since August, almost a year, which is a long time for me. A lot of my friends are like, wow, you're still there.
Are you good?
And I'm like, yeah, I like it because there's trans people everywhere and it's not too hot, not too cold. And I love the nature. It has a good balance and there's always queer stuff to do. So, and it's nice to go back there and not want to leave because that's whenever I'd go back to a place, I'd be like, fuck, I want to leave. Where else can I live? And that doesn't happen for me now because of the community aspect that I've built once I recognize my own like fight or flight toxic pattern. Don't even get me started on my toxic trait of only doing long distance relationship with women in other countries and continents. Yeah.
Well, I had a long distance relationship for almost a decade and now we're married.
Damn. Oh my God. Been like other countries or?
No, so I'm in San Diego, I'm in California. He was in Arizona, and then we talked about like finding a place together. And we literally looked at a map and I was like, Mexico. And he was like, not yet. Because he works in construction. So he's like very blue collar. That's what it is, right? I'm white collar, he's blue collar. So, he's like, I would have to relearn, like that would be a whole career. Like there's no way. And so we looked at a US map and like we literally put pins, and the only pin that we both kind of like agreed on, it was either Pacific Northwest, like Washington, maybe Oregon, or Colorado is the one that, but I was like, up there is like too cold. Like if we're going to stay on the West Coast, like just come to California because it's too cold for me. Like I'm cold in California, And so, yeah, my thermostat is not functioning. And so the only place that we landed was Colorado. So he moved from Arizona to then Denver. And that was like another 3 years or something like that. So it was like 5 years in Arizona, another 3 or something like that in Denver. And then I was like, okay, I did not like Denver. It didn't feel home because I would go every month to see him.
You're like, this ain't it. I'm not trying to live here.
No. I mean, I have friends that live there and like there's people that I know, but like it just did not feel home, like I did not see myself there. And so I was like, what's up? And he's like, all right, I'm moving to California. So now he's in San Diego. So it works.
Yay.
All that to say, long distance relationships could work.
They could. As long as there's an end point eventually.
Which we didn't have it wasn't our thing together. Like we both believe that the institution of marriage is a construct. So it wasn't ever like the end goal is to get married. Truly. It was just like we want to be together. Like we love each other so much and that's all that matters. We ended up getting married because of like taxes. It was a business transaction.
Yeah, I've never been married, but it's a business partnership.
It's a business, and we do have a business together, and so it just made sense.
Yeah.
All that to say, I believe if you like long distance relationships, I do believe they could work.
I just did it because I liked the illusion of the person, and then when I actually got to know them, it'd be like, oh no, I don't like you anymore.
Yeah, so that is an indicator that's probably not a thing for sure. For sure.
That's why I had to cut
no, we had been together.
Makes
sense. Yeah. Makes sense. But it helps with like if you're I'm hyper independent, of course, as an eldest daughter. Like I need my space, my independence. So not being together all the time was great. So before we run out of time, Charly, tell us all the places and spaces where people can find you, what is next for you, all the things.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Traveler Charly with a Y. There's a lot of random Traveler Charlies, but once you see me, you'll see me and be like, oh, that's the gay one with the unicorns and the colors. And I have a podcast called Unicorn Millionaire that just hit 10,000 plays and downloads.
Yay!
Super excited. I've almost released 150 episodes, and
nice.
I love that. Thank you. And I've released a few in Spanish, like completely in Spanish. Some where I talk about like my magic mushroom trips, and then others where I'm sober. So I have guests on there. It's a lot of fun. And I have an email series called Dom Your Dinero Emails.
I saw that.
And I do 6-month coaching program for LGBT, BIPOC who want to optimize their money instead of waiting to make more. So I help my clients of all income levels, whether you're a low income earner like me that makes less than 45K or 6-figure earner, help you optimize your cash, credit, crush debt, and understand what the fuck you're looking at when you log into your 401k and how to be a Roth freak so we can collapse our timelines to retirement, because I love what I do, but I still don't dream of labor. I'm on more vacation. That's the vibe. So,
Totally.
yeah.
One thing that I wanted to ask is, how does a queer body travel so much and feel safe?
A lot of self-reassurance, self-validation, knowing how to regulate my own nervous system, which I think comes with being a business owner. When you're a business owner, you don't have a boss giving you a participation trophy or a pizza party. You have to congratulate yourself and remind yourself that you're the boss. And that's constantly celebrating yourself and creating safety for yourself. And it's not like I go to countries where being queer is illegal. I remember going to Zimbabwe real quick for a few days. And that was kind of scary. A lot of things I'm like, damn, I can't believe I did that and just did it, because I think I just have I've had a lot of near-death experiences. I'm estranged from family. So there's a big part of me that's just like, YOLO, you only live once. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. And so now I'm in my like era, especially with this regime going on, that's like anti everything that's not a cishet white man. I'm like, let me just travel domestically within the Pacific Northwest or California and stay like along the West Coast in the blue states, because it does give me anxiety flying out and flying back in, because I'm very active on social media. So that's my strategy for now, and I have to remind myself that this isn't forever, and that I have certain privileges that other trans people might not too, and remind myself of that. But I'm pretty good at reading the room, very sensitive to reading the room if like people are MAGA, just avoiding those
you can
people.
Smell that. Totally.
Yeah. So I could cuidarse, but don't let that keep you inside all the time. There's still a beautiful life to live and beautiful people to meet and beautiful places to go, and connecting with nature makes me feel present and calm and regulates my nervous system, so that we can continue the fight. It feels like a fight right now, but I just want to have a life just be a big twerk off after this is over.
Let's make life a big twerk off. Yes. It's possible. I believe it's possible.
Yes.
For sure. Last few questions. What would you say to Charly at 14?
I would say that you're going to get the fuck out of this little town where you're closeted, and you will be abandoned. Your dad will leave you, but it's not your fault. You'll be abandoned by a lot of people, but it's never going to be your fault. You don't have to go through all these eating disorders to people please or shapeshift to meet them, because if they don't love you, that's their fault. They don't have the capacity to love you, but you will find a lot of people who do help you grow and love you for who you are. And unconditional love does exist. It's going to take you a little bit to find it and seek it out, but unconditional love is a thing.
Yes, I love that. And do you have a remedio that you want to share with us?
Breath work is big for me. I mean, I struggle with eczema, even though I eat very clean. I don't really drink much alcohol. I don't drink much coffee, but I still, like this morning, I was extremely itchy. Like I'm just sensitive, and it must be with the pet sitting or whatever, the air, the water, so many factors. So whenever I'm very itchy, I try to just sit and do like 7 minutes of breath work. It's an episode of my favorite Spanish podcast, Sabiduría Psicodélica. There's an episode with Rodo Escalante that he does breath work because he's one of those like divers, the deep sea divers that hold their breath for minutes at a time. And it's a beautiful, just quick 7-minute thing that really grounds me and calms me down. So I'm all about breath work.
And 7 minutes are powerful. I'm training brain spotting. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
Brain spotting is cool. So we have the model of the brain, frontal cortex, limbic, and mammalian brain. The optical nerve directly connects to the limbic brain. Our eyes are the only organ don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that is actually connected to the brain. Every other organ is connected through the brainstem, through the spinal cord. And so through our eyes, this is why EMDR, for example, works, because you do bilateral stimulation of your optical nerve. It connects directly to your limbic brain. You can reprogram, you can heal, you can do a lot of stuff. So brain spotting is another tool that allows your eyes to find what is called a brain spot, meaning a place in your environment, in the screen of the practitioner, that allows you to either ground yourself or work through potential trauma they may have stored in that part of the brain that your optical nerve is connected to. And so when I do a grounding exercise using brain spotting that is 7 minutes. And so the 7 minutes is really powerful because 7 minutes is, I'm going to have to look at the science of why 7 minutes work. But it truly, every time we do it if we do it for 5, people are like, I feel good. But if we do it for 7 minutes, then people get into their body much more. If you do it for 10 minutes, that's when people start getting bored. So 7 minutes is like the nice, cozy spot.
Because our attention spans suck now, thanks to TikTok.
Yeah. So 7 minutes is a cozy spot. So I love that. Breath work for you. And what is the legacy that you want to leave behind?
I feel like I'm already leaving it. Just like being yourself. There's no time to waste, and to not seek validation from other people. I like going out to eat all the time. I don't need another person to go out. I've been to weddings alone and still had a blast. Yeah, I think that's my legacy, is just like seeking validation from yourself, but also getting your shit together, because I'm a Virgo, and get your money together so that you don't have to be like worrying about how you're going to pay your bills when you're 85 years old. Have fun now, but get your shit together.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. That sounds on brand with the Virgo sun.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see that. Awesome. Any last thoughts that you want to share with us, Charly?
No, this was so good. I'm so happy that I told you I found you through ChatGPT, where I was like, how can I romanticize my life even more? And then you came up on ChatGPT, and then I listened to your episode about it. Yeah. So that's your legacy. See, you're already leaving it there.
Let's go.
So yeah, I really appreciate you having me on. And like we said before the recording, we have never even talked before, but I love that we can just like talk about deep shit like from the get. So
that is on brand with Cafe con Bam. Well, thank you, Charly, so much. I hope you have a lot of fun in whatever you are located in the world right now. And I know you told me, but I don't know if you want to make that public. And enjoy all the puppies that you hang out with.
Thank you. So I will.
That's a big one. That's a big pupper.
He's like, who, me?
I know. So cute.
He loves me.
How old is that one?
I don't know. I just show up to the house and take care of them. I don't really ask questions. When people come visit me, they're like, oh, how old? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just here. It's a house.
Everyone is curious, and you're like, it's a dog.
It's Charly's world, and I'm in it.
Enjoy it. Love that.
Thanks.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Bueno, Charly said something that it fascinated me, because they said when they told their 12-year-old, you'll be abandoned, but it's not your fault. You know, they have that awareness. And that is a message they would send back to actually their 14-year-old self, to their teenage self, the kid who just got a social security number, the kid who ran to McDonald's to get their first job because they never, not for 1 second, wanted to be in the vulnerable position they watched the women in their family be in. And I thought about how much of what Charly has built, the 260,000 net worth, the 39 countries, the 6-month coaching programs, the maxed out Roth IRA every January 2nd, how much of that was also quietly a way of making sure no one could ever abandon them again. Because if you're financially free, then you don't need anyone to stay. And then I thought about the guacamole, of course, the store-bought guac that Charly still has to talk themselves into buying. And this is beyond affording. This is more so because part of them still is the kid at the store in Moses Lake, Washington, hearing todo está muy caro, learning that wanting more than you have is dangerous. Charlie told us that the money wounds don't go away. Pican un poquito menos. They sting a little less, but they're still there. And I think that's the most honest thing anyone's ever said on this show about what healing actually looks like. It's not a before and after. It's not a line on the sand and then you're on the other side. It's a pica menos. It's buying the guacamole and having to remind yourself you actually can do it now. So, if you're still talking yourself out of whatever it is, maybe it's because somewhere inside you, you're still waiting for permission to take up this space. And that's the question that I want to leave you with today. Ask yourself, am I still waiting for permission to take up space? So, if you want to understand the conditioning underneath all of it, the part of you that learned to earn your place, to stay small, to perform gratitude instead of actually receiving, of course, take the Galeta Culture Quiz. It's free. It takes less than 10 minutes. It will give you a name for something you've been carrying since before you had words for it. Head over to cafeconpam.com/quiz. And thank you so much for being here. Nos vemos pronto y sigue brillando. Café con Pam is created con mucho amor by our small but mighty team. Content production by Nancy Jaimes. Podcast management by Maru Linardi. Social media and marketing by Brenda Figueroa. And me, your host, Pam Covarrubias. To keep the cafecito brewing and the healing flowing, join the Supporters Club for only $5 a month and access early episodes, behind-the-scenes vibes, and exclusive minisodes you won't hear anywhere else. Screenshot this episode and tag me and share what resonated. I love seeing your takeaways. Follow on your favorite podcast platform and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's keep the conversation going with us on social media at Café con Pan Podcast because your voice always matters there. We love being on Instagram and Facebook. Gracias for listening to Café con Pan, a Spread Ideas Move People production. For more episodes, guest info, or resources, visit cafeconpam.com. And if you're healing from calladita culture and don't know where to start, you can take the quiz. cafeconpam.com/quiz for Tia Wisdom and cariño just for you.
Sabrosura pa' ti que